Commander Hannah Park stood before the High Council of the Galactic Empire with her head held high. The massive chamber made her look small, but her voice carried strength. Around her, 12 alien leaders sat on raised platforms, looking down at the human with mixed curiosity and disdain. "The Empire has violated our trust," Hannah said firmly. "For 30 years, we believed we were junior partners in galactic affairs. Now we know the truth." She activated a small device on her wrist. A hologram appeared, showing destroyed human settlements and mining operations stripped bare. These were once thriving colonies. Your administrators claimed pirates were responsible. That was a lie. The Archregent shifted his massive scaled body. His 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "Human, you test our patience. What evidence connects these unfortunate events to the Empire?" Hannah tapped her device again. New images appeared. Imperial ships loading resources from human worlds. Official documents with Imperial seals authorizing resource extraction from planets clearly marked as human territories. "We found these records in your own systems," she said. "Your empire has been systematically taking our resources while pretending to protect us. You've been experimenting on human captives while calling them volunteers." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Archregent's scales darkened with anger. "Even if these claims were true, what do you expect from us? Your species controls 8 planets. We control 10,000. Hannah's expression didn't change. "We expect justice. Return what was taken. Recognize our sovereignty. And all unauthorized activities in human space." Laughter echoed through the chamber. The Minister of Expansion, a tall being with translucent skin, leaned forward. "Or what? Your military consists of a few hundred ships. We could crush your entire civilization in a day." "You could try," Hannah replied calmly. "But I suggest you first speak with your military advisors about Outpost Station K-12. Silence fell over the chamber. The Archregent quickly tapped something into his console. His eyes widened as he read the incoming message. "What have you done?" he demanded. "K-12 was your most secure military installation in the Orion Arm. 2,000 personnel. Advanced weapon systems. State-of-the-art defenses." Hannah paused. 12 hours ago, it went completely dark. No distress call. No battle. It simply stopped. "Impossible," the defense minister growled. "No force could approach K-12 undetected." "Check your reports," Hannah suggested. When communication resumed, all personnel were unharmed, but had no memory of what happened. All weapon systems were intact but completely reprogrammed. The council members began frantically checking their devices. The Archregent's scales had paled to a sickly blue. "This is an act of war," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. "No, this is a demonstration. Had we wanted war, those 2,000 Imperial citizens would be dead. The station would be destroyed." Hannah stepped closer to the center of the chamber. "This is humanity's final warning. Recognize our rights or face consequences beyond your understanding." "You think one sabotage operation proves anything?" The economics minister sneered. Hannah smiled slightly. "We didn't just target K-12. Check your banking system. For 3 minutes this morning, every Imperial account was under our control. We didn't take anything. We simply wanted you to know we could." Real fear showed on the council members' faces now. The Empire's banking system was protected by the most advanced security in known space. "Humanity spent 30 years learning from you," Hannah continued. "While you saw us as simple students, we were studying your weaknesses. While you underestimated us, we prepared." The Archregent stood, towering over the human woman. "What do you want?" "I already told you. Justice, sovereignty, respect." Hannah placed a small data crystal on the center table. "This contains our terms. You have 3 standard days to agree. And if we refuse, then we will show you why your ancestors were wise to fear Earth." Hannah turned to leave, then paused. "Your worlds won't literally burn. That would be wasteful. But your empire as you know it will end." As she walked out, The chamber erupted in angry shouting. Outside, her assistant Jun waited nervously. "Did they agree?" he asked. "Not yet," Hannah replied. "But they will. They just need time to realize we're serious. And if they don't..." Hannah looked back at the Imperial Palace rising into the alien sky. "Then we activate Prometheus. And everything changes." As their ship lifted off from the Empire's capital world, neither of them noticed the small tracking device attached to their hull, or the Imperial Special Forces already heading toward Earth's outer colonies. The final warning had been delivered, but the Empire wasn't ready to listen. 20 years earlier, Dr. Taiwan Kim stood at his workstation in the Imperial Science Academy on Proxima Station. The room hummed with advanced technology, most of it beyond what humans were supposed to access. As a senior researcher, Taiwan enjoyed privileges few humans had earned. "Dr. Kim, the quantum simulation is ready," said his Imperial supervisor, a tall being with silvery skin. "Thank you, Director," Taiwan replied, keeping his face neutral even though excitement raced through him. For 3 years, he had been carefully building trust, demonstrating just enough brilliance to be valuable, but not enough to seem threatening. Today, his patience would pay off. With the director's approval, he now had authorized access to the Empire's central database for his research on particle stabilization. What the Empire didn't know was that To-1 had another purpose. Late that night, when the other researchers had left, Ta-1 activated a small device hidden in his sleeve. It bypassed the security protocols, giving him deeper access to the Imperial archives than any human had ever achieved. His fingers moved rapidly across the interface as he searched for information about Earth's first contact with the Empire 2 centuries ago. The official story claimed the Empire had discovered humans and offered friendship and technology. But rumors had circulated among human scientists for years about inconsistencies in that narrative. "Let's see what really happened," he whispered. The files he found made his blood run cold. Earth had not been discovered by chance. The Empire had been watching human development for centuries, waiting until humanity reached a specific technological threshold, not to welcome them as equals, but to ensure humans would develop along controlled lines that posed no threat to Imperial dominance. A classified directive labeled humans as a resource species, intelligent enough to be useful but considered too aggressive to ever be trusted with full galactic citizenship. "They'd been playing us from the beginning," Taiwan muttered. As he dug deeper, he discovered something even more disturbing. The technological gifts the Empire had shared with humanity had been carefully chosen. They gave humans the impression of advancement while keeping truly revolutionary technologies hidden. And then he found something that made him gasp. A research paper on dimensional phasing, a theoretical technology that would allow matter to temporarily exist in a parallel dimension, effectively passing through solid objects in our dimension. The Empire had deemed this technology too dangerous to develop further, but the theoretical foundation was there, buried in the archives. With this knowledge, humans could potentially create weapons and defenses that would bypass any conventional Imperial system. Quickly, Taiwan copied the files to a secure data crystal. His heart pounded so loudly he feared it might trigger the station's biosensors. The next morning, Taiwan requested emergency leave, citing a family illness back on Earth. The Empire, arrogant in its belief that humans posed no threat, approved his request without suspicion. 3 weeks later, in a secure underground facility beneath Seoul, Taiwan presented his findings to a small group of Earth's top military and scientific leaders. "They'd been lying to us since first contact," he explained, showing the classified files. "Everything they've shared has been calculated to keep us dependent." General Min Ji-yoon, head of Earth's Defense Force, studied the evidence with a grim expression. "Can we verify this is genuine?" The quantum encryption signatures match all other Imperial high-security documents, Taiwan confirmed, and it explains why they've always restricted our development in certain areas. "What do you suggest we do?" asked President Kang. We cannot openly challenge an empire that controls half the galaxy. Tai-1 held up the data crystal containing the dimensional phasing research. We don't challenge them openly. Not yet. We prepare in secret. He outlined his proposal, a covered initiative to develop technologies the empire had hidden from humanity. They would continue to appear cooperative and grateful while secretly building their strength. We call it the Prometheus Protocol, Tai-1 said. In Earth mythology, Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humans. We're taking back what should be ours. President Kang looked troubled. This could take decades. Yes, Tai-1 agreed. But the empire thinks in centuries. 20 years of secret preparation is nothing to them. They won't see it coming. The vote was unanimous. Earth would maintain its facade of cooperation while quietly preparing for independence or war. As Tai-1 left the meeting, his wife, Su-Jin, was waiting. She saw the weight in his eyes. They approved it, she asked. He nodded. We have work to do. Work that might save our species. Or start a war we can't win, she said quietly. Tai-1 looked up at the night sky, knowing Imperial ships orbited silently above. The war already started centuries ago. The Empire just never bothered to tell us. And so the awakening began. For the next 20 years, humanity would learn, build, and prepare, all while smiling at their Imperial overlords. Captain Jun Lee floated in the darkness of space, his specialized suit keeping him invisible to Imperial sensors. 5 other team members drifted nearby, their forms barely visible even with his enhanced vision. Status check, he whispered into his comm. Team ready, came the soft replies from his squad. Before them loomed Imperial Defense Station Helios, a massive structure shaped like a 12-pointed star. It was the Empire's pride, a fortress housing 10,000 troops and weapon systems that could destroy entire fleets. Today, 6 humans would shut it down without firing a single shot. Remember your training, Jun said calmly. Phase only when I give the signal. Stay in sync or you'll be detected. They had practiced this mission 100 times in simulation, but this was real. If they failed, the Empire would know humanity's secret capabilities before they were ready to reveal them. Approaching outer security field, reported Minji, their tech specialist. Sensors detect standard Imperial sweep patterns. Jun checked the small device on his wrist. Dimensional phasing in 3, 2, 1. Now. He activated his suit's core technology. A strange sensation washed over him as his molecules shifted partially into another dimension. The universe around him took on a bluish tint, and he felt weightless in a different way than normal space. To Imperial sensors, they had simply vanished. The team drifted through the station's outer hull, as if it were made of fog. Inside, they saw Imperial troops going about their duties, completely unaware of the intruders passing through their midst. Remember, we can only maintain phase for 12 minutes before requiring recharge, Jun reminded them. Move quickly. They navigated through corridors and security checkpoints, passing through sealed doors and walls. Occasionally, they had to pause and wait for their phase technology to stabilize, the longest moments of their mission as they hovered, partially out of phase, hoping no one would notice the slight distortion in the air. Finally, they'd reached the Central Command Core, a massive chamber filled with advanced computers and staffed by the Empire's elite technicians. Begin Phase 2, Jun ordered. They positioned themselves at key points around the chamber, then partially phased back into normal space, just enough to use their equipment, but not enough to be fully visible. Minji activated her specialized device. It sent targeted energy pulses that temporarily disabled the Imperial technicians' neural implants. One by one, the station staff slumped at their stations, unconscious but unharmed. We have 8 minutes, she reported. The team moved quickly. They connected their devices to the Imperial systems, uploading the specialized virus that had been 20 years in development. It would rewrite the station's core programming while leaving all systems apparently functional. Upload at 60%, reported Sung-Ho, Their systems expert. Security countermeasures activating. Expected, Jun replied. Continue. The virus fought against the Imperial defenses, adapting as it had been designed to do. On the main screen, warning symbols flashed briefly before being suppressed by their program. Upload complete, Sung Ho announced just as Jun's suit began to beep softly. Phase energy at critical. We need to move, Jun ordered. They disconnected their equipment and shifted fully back into dimensional phase. As they did, the station's lights flickered once, then stabilized. The return journey was tense. Their suits' power reserves dropped rapidly as they made their way back through the station. By the time they reached the outer hull, warning signals flashed on their displays. Phase collapse in 30 seconds, Minji warned. Push through, Jun ordered. Almost there. They passed through the final barrier just as their suits began to fail. In the darkness of space, they fully returned to normal space, their ships waiting nearby with engines dark. Mission accomplished, Jun reported as they boarded. No casualties. From a safe distance, they watched the massive station. For several minutes, nothing seemed to happen. Then, systematically, section by section, the lights began to go out. Defense systems powered down. Communication arrays went silent. Within 30 minutes, the pride of the Empire was completely dark, floating dead in space. What happens now? Asked Sung Ho as their ship prepared to jump to light speed. Now we wait, Jun replied. When the station reactivates in 12 hours, everything will function normally, but we'll control it all. Every weapon, every communication system, every door, and the message will play on repeat through all Imperial channels. Jun looked back at the darkened station. This is what we can do without firing a shot. Next time, we won't be so merciful. As their ship disappeared into light speed, Imperial response vessels were already racing toward Helios Station, unaware that the demonstration was only beginning. On Earth, Commander Hannah Park received the confirmation signal. The first phase of humanity's plan had worked perfectly. Now they would see if the Empire was wise enough to understand the warning. 3 days later, Imperial warships launched a devastating attack on New Terra colony. The Empire had made its choice. Now humanity would make theirs. Admiral Daeho Kang stood on the bridge of the Earth vessel Retribution, his weathered face illuminated by the glow of tactical displays. Around him, his crew worked with quiet efficiency. No one spoke about what they were about to do. After the Empire's attack on New Terra colony, there was nothing left to discuss. All Prometheus platforms report ready, Admiral, said Lieutenant Gina, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Daeho nodded. For 20 years, humanity had quietly placed hundreds of stealth satellites throughout Imperial space, keeping them hidden in dimensional phase. The Empire, with all its advanced technology, had never detected them. Begin primary sequence, he ordered. Gina entered the command codes. On the main screen, status indicators began to change from red to green as each platform acknowledged the signal. Sir, she said, should we target their civilian centers as they did ours? The Empire's attack on New Terra had killed 30,000 civilians. The Retribution's name had never felt more appropriate. Daeho shook his head. Military targets only. We are not them. He entered his personal authorization code, unlocking the final firing sequence. Execute. Across 200 Imperial worlds, the invisible platforms shifted into normal space. There was no warning, no time for Imperial defenses to respond. The weapons fired in perfect synchronization, targeting power grids, defense systems, and military installations. On the tactical display, Imperial communication networks began to go dark one after another. Not destroyed, merely disabled with precise, surgical strikes. First wave complete, reported Tactical Officer Min. Imperial defense grid down in all targeted sectors. Their ships are blind and cut off from Central Command. Any response? Multiple Imperial battle groups changing course. They're heading toward our colonies. Daeho had expected this. The Empire's response to any challenge was overwhelming force. Even with their command structure in chaos, they still had thousands of warships. "Activate Phase 2, he ordered. Throughout human space, defensive systems that had been hidden for decades came online. Special shields designed specifically to counter Imperial weapons, automated defense platforms with technology the Empire believed impossible for humans to develop. Imperial Battle Group entering the Tau Ceti system, Jinnah announced. 15 capital ships, 40 support vessels. On the display, the Imperial fleet appeared as red triangles approaching Earth's most populous colony. They expect to find it defenseless, Daho said quietly. Let them learn. As the Imperial ships moved into attack position, they encountered something unexpected. Their targeting systems suddenly failed. Their engines stuttered. Communications between ships cut out. The colony's hidden defenses activated, firing precise shots that disabled rather than destroyed. Within 30 minutes, the mighty Imperial battle group was adrift in space, crews alive but ships powerless. Similar reports came in from other systems. Everywhere the Empire attacked, they found humanity prepared in ways they couldn't comprehend. "Admiral," said Communications Officer Yoon, "we're receiving a direct transmission from the Imperial command ship Invincible. Admiral Zexthar is requesting to speak with you." Daho straightened his uniform. "Put him through." The screen flickered, revealing the insectoid features of the Empire's most decorated military leader. His compound eyes reflected the emergency lighting of his bridge. "What manner of weapons are these?" Zexthar demanded, mandibles clicking in agitation. "The kind you thought we couldn't build," Daho replied calmly. "The kind you kept hidden from us. This is impossible. Your species is barely space-capable by Imperial standards. Your standards were wrong. Your assessment of humanity was wrong." Daho leaned forward. "You attacked a peaceful colony. You killed thousands of civilians. Did you expect us to surrender?" "The Empire does not surrender," Zexthar said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Neither does humanity. The difference is, we gave you a chance for peace first." Daho's eyes hardened. "You should have taken it." He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. "Prepare for the next phase. The Empire will regroup and attempt a coordinated counterattack." "Sir," Jinnah said hesitantly, "some of our commanders are suggesting we push forward and strike at their core worlds while they're vulnerable. We could end this now." Daho moved to the viewport and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Imperial citizens were experiencing fear for perhaps the first time in generations. People who had been taught humans were barely more than clever animals. "We could," he agreed. "But then we'd be no better than them. Our goal isn't to destroy the Empire, it's to change it." Reports continued to flow in. Imperial fleets in disarray. Defensive stations neutralized. The vast machine of Imperial power grinding to a halt against an enemy they had fatally underestimated. On a secure channel, Daho contacted Commander Hannah Park, who was coordinating the diplomatic side of their strategy. "Phase 1 complete," he reported. "The Empire's military capacity is reduced by 60%. No cities targeted, minimal loss of life." "Good," Hannah replied. "I'm preparing to deliver our final message to the Imperial throne. They're listening now." As the Retribution moved toward its next objective, Daho knew the hardest part was still ahead. Winning a war was one thing. Winning the peace that followed would be far more difficult. The Imperial Palace on Centaurus Prime had never been entered by a human delegation before. Its crystal spires reached into the purple sky, built to emphasize the power difference between the Empire and everyone else. Commander Hannah Park walked through the grand entrance hall, flanked by 2 human guards and 4 Imperial escorts. She felt small in the massive space, which was designed for that exact purpose. The ceiling towered 30 meters above. The walls were decorated with scenes of Imperial conquest, spanning thousands of years. "Intimidating, isn't it?" asked one of the Imperial guards, his scaled skin shifting colors with amusement. "Impressive architecture," Hannah replied calmly. Though I find it interesting that a civilization so advanced still feels the need to build structures meant to intimidate. The guard's scales darkened with anger, but he said nothing more. They'd reached the throne room doors, massive slabs of material that looked like wood but was actually a rare crystal that could withstand energy weapons. The doors swung open silently. Inside, the Archregent waited. His massive form seemed diminished somehow. The throne he sat upon was designed to make him appear larger than life, yet today he looked almost small. Through the transparent dome above, the human fleet could be seen in orbit. Though far smaller than the Imperial Armada, their strategic position was clear. They controlled the space around the Imperial capital world. Commander Park, the Archregent said, his voice lacking its usual booming quality. You force your way to our throne world and demand an audience. What more can humanity possibly want? You have crippled our fleets, disabled our defenses, humiliated the greatest power the galaxy has ever known. Hannah stopped at the designated spot, refusing to kneel as protocol demanded. We want what we asked for 3 weeks ago, before your empire decided to attack our colonies. Justice, sovereignty, respect. You speak of respect while your weapons target our capital. The Archregent gestured to the ships visible through the dome. Your warships killed 30,000 civilians on New Terra, Hannah replied. Yet our response targeted only military installations. We could have destroyed your worlds. Instead, we disabled your ability to make war. There is a difference. For a long moment, the Archregent was silent. When he spoke again, his voice was quieter. In 12,000 years, no species has done what humanity has accomplished in 3 weeks. How? Your technology was monitored. Your development controlled. Hannah allowed herself a small smile. You watched what we wanted you to see. You controlled what we allowed to be controlled, all while we studied you. Your weaknesses, your blind spots, your arrogance. And now, will humanity replace the Empire? Rule the galaxy as we have done? No. Hannah stepped forward and activated a holographic display between them. A document appeared, a new treaty. We have no desire to rule, only to ensure no species is treated as we were. The Archregent studied the document, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence as he read. This would transform the Empire completely, he said finally. A council where all species have equal voice, reparations to exploited worlds, technology sharing without restriction. Yes, the Empire has brought stability to the galaxy. We don't wish to destroy that, but stability without justice is just oppression with good marketing. A sound escaped the Archregent, something between a laugh and a sigh. You use our own entertainment broadcasts to insult us. Remarkable. He rose from his throne, towering over Hannah. For a tense moment, her guards reached for their weapons. Then the Archregent did something unprecedented in Imperial history. He stepped down from the raised platform to stand on the same level as Hannah. Your species continues to surprise me, Commander Park. Perhaps that is why we feared you enough to try controlling you. Fear is a poor foundation for relations between worlds, Hannah said. We offer something better. And if we refuse these terms, will your ships fulfill your warning? Will our worlds burn? Hannah shook her head. That was never our goal. If you refuse, we will simply leave. Take our colonies out of Imperial space, establish our own territory, and wait for the species you've oppressed to realize what's possible when fear is replaced with determination. The Archregent was silent for a long time. Finally, he touched the treaty display, adding his biological signature. I cannot promise all Imperial worlds will accept this change easily, he warned. Nothing worthwhile is ever easy, Hannah replied. 3 days later, representatives from all Imperial worlds gathered to witness the signing of the new Galactic Charter. Some came eagerly, others with reluctance. But all came. As Hannah watched the historic ceremony, Admiral Daho joined her at the viewport. Was it worth it? He asked quietly. All the years of preparation, The lives lost. Hannah looked out at the assembled species, former enemies now cautious allies. "Ask me in 100 years," she said. "That's how long true change takes. But today is a good start." Outside, the stars shone on a galaxy transformed not by fire, but by humanity's most powerful weapon. The determination to build something better than what came before.